For the first time in what feels like an eternity, drivers, start your engines! You are now listening to the fastest show on iSports Radio. This is Darryl Kinsey Jr. I'm welcoming you to take another lap of the extra mile for today, July 11th, 2019. And it has felt like it has been a long time since we have last been on the air. This is actually our first episode in July as I look at the Spreaker dashboard because we were off last week for the July 4th holidays. I was traveling to Daytona. Got a little bit waterlogged, but had two pieces of amazing information. One happened during that race weekend. The next piece happened shortly after I got back. We'll have to wait to this end of this segment to figure out just what that is. But I did miss my co-hosts. Let me welcome them in, Miss Caitlin Seam and Mr. Michael Ward.
Boop. Hello.
We're missing one. We're missing Lita this week because as I've come back, she has gone out because she gets to go to some place called New York City for the Formula E Championship race, something like that. I think it's a big deal, but no,
because
seriously.
some of us are not as cool as others.
Lita,
but seriously, that's really cool. And if she's listening,
show,
good luck.
Lita, watching the show. If you're listening to this show, Lita, can you check and see if Spider-Man is real?
Well, he's going to be in... Oh, I can't say anything. No spoilers.
Yeah, we're not going to spoil that movie for you if you haven't seen it. But if you like the Marvel movies, you need to go ahead and go see Spider-Man: Far From Home. We actually went to go see it while we were waiting. Me and my friend actually went to go see it while we were waiting for the NASCAR credential hauler to open up because Xfinity Racing was so nice to drop a couple of hot passes on me and my friend when we arrived in Daytona to use for the Cup weekend. Unfortunately, we were unable to use them because the rain, but it was awesome getting to walk through the garages and get up close with the pit boxes. And we were going to be able to see the pit stops and see the teams working and all that. And then South Florida weather decided to South Florida weather.
That happens.
Yeah, but I still had a lot of fun down there. We got to see the Xfinity race on Friday. It was his first time to Daytona. It was actually my third. So it was a lot of fun seeing those cars zoom by. And I accidentally inundated you guys with posts on the Twitter and the Facebook about our adventures. And it was a lot of fun being at that speedway again. It is hearing the cars go by, getting to see Ross Chastain, who that guy's been having an amazing season. When you think about it, he started running for Xfinity points, struggled, went to truck points, ended up winning, lost the win, wins the next week, and then gets the win at Daytona a couple of weeks later. Just an awesome week, or awesome half of the season so far for Ross Chastain. And
not awesome for watermelons everywhere, though.
No, that watermelon took a digger right into the pavement, unfortunately. I mean, it was cool because it happened right in front of us, but it looked like it hurt.
Yeah. All over the world, watermelons cringe.
Yes. And then we move to Sunday, and we're going to jump to the end and go back on this one. Justin Haley pulls off one of the most improbable wins you will ever see, because he basically won because Clint Boyer and Austin Dillon decided to get into a fight in turn one, and ended up wrecking half the field. Haley and a few other cars survive. Well, it was Haley, Kurt Busch, and a few other cars that survived the chaos. Those cars then go to pit. Those cars in front of Kurt Busch and Haley go to pit lane, leaving Kurt Busch and Justin Haley at the front of the field. 1 to go happens. Kurt Busch decides to pit because it looks like we're going to get some racing done here before the impending rains actually come and wash out the race. Kurt Busch comes to pit, leaving Justin Haley, Aspire Motorsports fame, out front. They are coming back to take the green, and a lightning bolt is registered within 8 miles of the speedway. Instant lightning delay. Cars are brought to pit lane, and then the heavens open, douse the track, and 2 hours later, Justin Haley is a winner in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series in one of the most improbable wins we saw coming. I picked up a point from Kyle Busch in nearest the win, pretty much I think because he was the highest driver left from that melee that happened to bring out the red flag. But guys, how many times is it going to be where these teams figure out that when the weather is literally there, you got to stay out to the bitter end?
Well, I feel like when it was a few years ago, when was it? What race was it? Maybe it might have been in Charlotte. What was the race? I don't think it was. And like, we kept having like all of the extended like laps. I'm pretty sure it was because of weather.
That was Kansas,
and then like
2007.
Do you know which one? And like there was like all of those cars kept dropping off like flies because they were running out of gas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that was Kansas 2007. 2007, 2006.
Because that was another one of those races where the weather was literally on their doorstep.
And everybody stayed out, and literally everybody lost their gas. And I feel like it's almost like that kind of thing where it literally, even a decade later, has scarred these teams so severely that they like doubt taking the chance.
Wasn't that the race where
there was a situation where Greg Biffle ran out of gas on like the front stretch, and then
wasn't like somebody pushing somebody?
No, nobody wasn't pushing him. He like literally ran out of gas, and Clint Boyer literally passed him, but they registered Biffle as the winner.
I remember that race because I think it was ending early because of darkness, because they'd already had so many delays.
And they were
Biffle
just
ran
tired of it, and they were just
Biffle
like,
ran out of gas. Yeah, Biffle ran out of gas, and Clint Boyer passed him, but for some reason, Biffle was registered as the winner. That was weird, but it's like...
That was the weirdest ending to a race I have ever seen.
But the storm was literally forming on top of the racetrack. Like, it's not like it was, it might be coming. It was forming above them. And they still decided to pit.
My favorite part is that we have not gotten a literal answer as to why, though. Like, there's so many things going around about like that he did and that he shouldn't. Like, even you had posted, Darryl, on Twitter that little video that Ganassi had put up about like him reading the tweets.
Oh, that was funny.
Like, it was funny as hell, especially because his wife was on it.
Wait, Darryl. You said that the storm was literally forming. I'm sorry, Katie. You said the storm was literally forming above them?
Yes, it was literally the cell that ended the race literally formed above the speedway.
This man didn't smell the rain?
Apparently not. I know the reference you're making. And you cannot see my face, but I'm shaking my head at you, Michael.
But seriously though, storms kind of make a sound. I'm just surprised that he didn't smell it.
You can smell when rain is coming, because when we were on Saturday, Scott and I, that's my friend that went on the trip, we're sitting on the front stretch watching the pre-race concert, which was like a 7.5 out of 10, I'd say. we're sitting there watching the concert, and all of a sudden, you can smell the rain. It's like, uh-oh, we need to go. And I turn to the right, and turn 1 is a wash with water from it just bucketing down. Because in Florida, it doesn't rain. It torrential pours and then just stops. That's how their rain works. So as we're trying to get out the speedway back to our seats, it comes dumping down on the front stretch. And it was setting up to be that type of situation again, especially when the lightning came and you're sitting there watching this happen and you're like, why did you pit? Like, it's the it's the David Rudiman situation all over again. Remember when everybody got mad because David Rudiman won the race at Charlotte about a decade ago because of rain, and like 12, 13 cars pitted before then, like the lap before the rain hit?
Yeah, I remember that race.
Yeah, it's like we have so many books on this, and I'll say it like this. This is what Mike Joyce said after that incident happened. Every driver in front of David Rudiman could have made that decision to stay out and didn't. David Rudiman did. David Rudiman won the race. Every driver in front of Justin Haley could have made the decision to stay out and pray the rain, or in this case, the lightning came. They did not. Haley ends up winning the race. Kurt Busch finishes 10th. And Kurt Busch even said it himself, they were on the wrong side of a lightning bolt.
Which is true. I mean, because that was the thing, is all of those little front runners were planning on pitting anyway, and that's why they had stayed out. Mm-hmm. And it worked out in Justin Haley's favor. I mean, a win is still a win, though. Like, you can't, like, poor kid has gotten so much flack for it, but you still got to give as much crap as we're giving to Kurt Busch and crew chief. On the other end of things, you kind of have to give Justin props for taking a risk that ended up winning him a Monster Cup NASCAR race. Like, he might not be locked into this championship because he's only raced like 3 races this year. Mm-hmm. And it might be a screwed up deal in the situation that he has with his car because of everything with the charter. But at the end of the day, Justin Haley very well might have just won his one and only NASCAR Cup race of his career.
Well, I won't say only. He's a good driver, and once he gets into a better team, I think he'll have much more wins. Like Ross Chastain, Cole Custer, get those 3 in good Cup cars immediately. They will win some races eventually. But a lot of the heat.
Cole Custer drive for Haas?
Yeah, he's riding for Stewart Haas, and right now the problem with him is where's he going to go? But I'll come back to that in a minute.
But there's still a chance.
Yeah, there's a chance.
That he might ever win another race. So I'm just saying. As much as we give crap for Kurt Busch, you got to give props for Justin.
Yeah, and everybody's...
it's kind of, if you think about it, it's a little bit of Daytona redemption for him for the fact that he got the Xfinity win. Wasn't it taken away from him because of the whole line with the lines and the tire and the rule thing that he was supposed to win that race and didn't?
Yeah, okay, about that. Y'all, I know the story is that there's some conspiracy that NASCAR wanted to take the win from Justin Haley. Y'all, his wheels were on the wrong side of the yellow line. Let it go. No, I'm not talking to you, Caitlin. I'm talking to the people on Twitter.
Tony Stewart forced David Riggin below the yellow line at Talladega, and Hughes didn't get the win.
And Caitlin, that wasn't meant for you. That was meant for everybody on Twitter, including Justin himself. It's like, dude, you gotta let it go.
No, the drivers are always the victim. We always know this. They are always the victim. Always.
I mean,
always.
They're not going to give you the win back, dude. I don't care how long you hold this grudge, but I'm happy for it's just everybody is mad because of how the setup of the Spire Motorsports team and how it came together. And for those of you that don't know the story, they basically bought the Furniture Row charter because it had some decent money coming off of it, as it had finishes of 11th, 5th, and 1st in the championship, and the charter is paid based off of last 3 years of your performance. So based on that performance, they average it out, and you get a payout based on however they do the calculations. So they've been using the car really to showcase the talent they have on their roster, one of those being Justin Haley. Haley ends up picking up the win. Now, Nick Bromberg wrote an article on Yahoo kind of being the contrarian, saying that this was a bad move for NASCAR, or a bad look for NASCAR, that Spire picked up this win because this team would literally not be able to exist in any other sport in America, and he's really not wrong, because, and I'll give you a perfect example, when Jay-Z wanted to get into the sports management side of sports, he had to give up his stake in the Brooklyn Nets because he could not have that ownership stake and be an agent, because it's a bad look to own a team and then be an agent and have players on that team. However, NASCAR teams are basically independent entities. They can do whatever they want, race wherever they want. They're not really doled out by the sanctioning body. You kind of come to the sanctioning body and say, hey, I want to race. And they say, okay, fill out this paperwork. So it's kind of different, but I can also see his point. But that doesn't take away that Justin Haley got a huge amount of redemption, one of the biggest wins of his career.
I think so. And it's Daytona, so.
Yeah, never forget the nature of the track.
Yep. And speaking of the nature of the beast, this is the first time we got to see the Cup cars unrestricted at Daytona. And while they were hauling, they were still able to keep double and triple file for most of the event. And if that is what restrictor plate racing is going to look like going forward, I think we finally have a package that no one will complain about. Maybe. This is NASCAR we're talking about. But there was a lot of good racing in this package. Wouldn't you think, Caitlin?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm a person that complains much about packaging anyway. Not this kind of packaging, at least.
I knew that was coming. But there was a lot of good racing. They did get single file briefly, which I'm surprised they didn't go longer.
True. I'm a little bummed just for the fact that I had picked Austin Dillon for the win and very well could have given me the 2 points. People didn't have to fight on the front damn row while they're racing. You know, that'd be great.
Yeah, let's talk.
I watched it. I was like, of course. Let's
talk about the move that. Let's actually talk about that incident as they were going into turn one. The move that pretty much gave Justin Haley the win. A lot of people called it a block, and then you look at it again. It looked like Boyer just tried to move down. I think it was either Boyer or Dillon that was up front. And whoever was behind, they just made contact accidentally, and that just caused all sorts of chaos after that. I don't think it was an intentional block that caused that wreck. I just think it was somebody moving down and wasn't clear.
Well, everybody's like, because it was Dillon and it was Boyer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first time I watched it, because I was actually on my way to work, and thankfully Snapchat is a thing, and I actually got videos sent from 2 different people to me, so I got to watch it while I was literally walking into work. And the first time I watched it, legit thought it was Dillon's fault. I was like, did the guy just want to keep moving down the track? Like, where was he going?
Dillon.
And then everybody else was like, and I had said something, and everybody was like, no, they pretty much confirmed that it was all Boyer. And I was like, okay. Off of my little phone screen, it just looked like Austin Dillon kept going down and going down and going down. And I was like, he literally
turned across him,
jobbing the entire racetrack.
And I'm looking at it again, and I was trying to make that case for Austin Dillon, but nah. Nah, that's
I just
all
thought it was a little
Austin.
harder because everybody was like, no, it was Clint Boyer, even though Clint Boyer didn't admit it. But I was like, the first time I like initially just watching it because it snapped, so I can't really like replay it. But the first time I watched it, I was like, where was Austin Dillon going?
Like Clint even said, he just kept coming left.
He was trying
what was I supposed to do?
He was trying to throw the block, and then Boyer's like, "Dude, I'm already here."
I think if freaking Boyer hadn't moved even an inch, Dillon still would have wrecked because I
don't know what's worse, that bullshit, that BS, or the freaking Grosjean saying, "Oh, Eric hit me," because clearly didn't. He clearly wasn't clear of Clint. So I don't know what poised you to throw a block.
Well, did he assume that there was going to be enough momentum? Maybe like I don't know. Like it's one of those things where like literally everybody is like, no, it was Boyer. Like straight facts, and I was just like, okay, but all I could see was Dillon going down a racetrack. Like
exactly.
I mean,
okay,
Dillon.
Momentum, maybe. It's like I wouldn't throw a move like that until I heard my spotter clear.
Yeah, like clear by 2.
Yeah, Boyer goes for the.
All right, cool. I can move over.
Yeah.
Let me hit my
door
blinker.
bumper.
I think what'll make these NASCAR races funny is that they have like blinkers like cars do, so they can just put it.
But I'm watching it again. Boyer makes the move, and Dillon just comes left all late, makes contact, gets squirrely, and then comes left again. It's like, okay, if the first move down didn't work,
he believes in turning left.
Why did you
will
think
never be concerned about turning right?
It's like, okay, if the first move didn't work, why did you think the second one was going to work?
Try again.
And then everybody just piles in behind him because there's nothing you can do at that point.
It's like they always say, the big one you always want to be in first, or you always want to be in last. In that case, first was the wrong place.
Yeah, worst was the wrong place to be because worst is what caused it.
Those are my favorite. I think honestly though, those are almost my favorite kind of big one wrecks. Just because everybody else is screwed. Like, first place wrecks, you're done. Like, bye, fam. Like, that's to me is the best part. I love it when the front row wrecks. I do.
When
like, as mean as that is, like, it's just the most entertaining because then it is literally pure carnage all the way through.
Yeah, because when the front row wrecks, it's like, please do not let him turn right. Because if he turns right, everybody is gone. And we've had a couple of those.
Yeah, we have.
Where everybody's just gone.
Like it's like in 2000, I think it was 2011 where like Tony Stewart and Kyle Busch were coming to the like start finish line and Busch kind of like wrecks himself.
No, it reminds me of Talladega in Xfinity. It was either 01 or 02. Where they're like 20 laps into the race and everyone but like 4 cars wrecks. I don't know if y'all remember.
Yeah, that was funny.
You have to go look up at this incident. They were coming down the back stretch. Somebody got bumped. And then just there's 4 cars left in the race. Everybody else is just destroyed. So that's what that wreck reminded me of. And poor Austin Dillon. Because poor Austin Dillon and Clint Boyer, because Stewart-Haas Racing can't catch a break this year.
I don't think it was poor anybody at that point. It was, I don't know.
No. I say poor Clint Boyer because Austin Dillon.
I picked Austin Dillon, so I feel like for anybody I would say that, but I don't know. Like I said, when I initially watched it, I was just like, okay, Austin, where were you going, bud?
I mean, I picked Kyle Busch, and Kyle Busch was like on the bottom lane in front of that mess when that happened.
Kyle Busch was like, yeah, I'll just let y'all wreck.
Well, no, I think he ended up in it too.
Dang. I don't think anyone was safe from that wreck.
No. And the last big story, we got to talk about this incident before I get to my announcement. Brad Keselowski decided to do a thing this weekend because Brad Keselowski is always doing a thing. Remember last year when he was talking about he was going to wreck everybody for throwing bad blocks on him?
Uh-huh.
After he got wrecked out in Daytona, ironically at Daytona last year. Well, he decided to come back and do that this year in practice. Because apparently William Byron threw a block on it, which it wasn't a block. Byron just moved down in front of him. So Brad does his level best to wreck the poor guy. And the 24 ends up having to go to a backup. So Karma decides to strike on Sunday, where Brad Keselowski is in front of Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick ends up giving Keselowski a bad bump and puts Keselowski in the outside wall. Now, if you believe in karma, that is the greatest comeuppance
That's funny.
you will ever see.
That's really funny.
I'm never going to say no to bad karma against Brad Keselowski.
And I was going to say 0-2 was 6. Let me bring up the chat so I can actually see what's going on. Actually, I cannot see what's going on in the chat. No one's actually posted. But yeah, it was 6 cars that finished that 2002 Talladega race. But yeah, Brad kind of stuck his foot in his mouth when he said that he's basically going to wreck anybody for throwing a block on him. Well, if you look at the nature of restrictor plate racing, well, half the field's going to get wrecked at some point because of Brad Keselowski, and thankfully it wasn't because Kevin Harvick just kind of put him in the wall by accident. But it was kind of a karmic butt kicking for a driver that unfortunately invites a lot of
Kevin
this.
Harvick did something. I'm like, part of me feels like he did it on purpose.
I don't think he did it on purpose, but I do think people raced Brad Keselowski differently when he said that. They won't admit it, but I do believe that they may have decided they're going to race him different this race because he decides he's going to pull that type of mess.
Yeah, I think overall, like, even though Kyle Busch is at JGR, like, I think overall Penske has to be the most hated team because of the drivers that they have compared to everything else. Right, Keselowski and Joey Logano?
Well, I like Keselowski. I can't stand Logano.
Why can no one stand Logano?
Squinty douchey eyes, that's all I have to say.
Am I the only one on this show that has no problems with Joey Logano?
Yes.
Yes.
You're even with the listeners included, are the only one.
I don't get it. The guy doesn't bother me. Now, Brad bothers me because he gets on Twitter sometimes and says some things where it's like, dude, you should have just kept that to yourself. And he's got a really high opinion of himself despite winning one championship and not doing a lot after that. But I don't hate the guy. But also, I don't really have any problems with Joey Logano.
I just hate his... Well, A, I hate his mouth, and B, I just hate how a lot of the times when he wins, it's because he does something wild.
I don't like the guy.
I
Period.
guess.
It's like, can you win
Him and his
fairly?
squinty douchey eyes. Us Truex fans will never forget.
Okay, see, if you're a Truex fan, you have a reason to not like the guy.
Oh, yeah, that was my other reason. That's my
Yeah, if
third
you're a
reason.
Truex fan, you don't have you actually have a reason not to.
No. What he did to Carl Edwards at Homestead like a couple years ago, that will forever your image in my mind.
Okay, that one both drivers kind of did what they had to do.
Okay, well, for the record, one of our listeners just texted me and said, I'm a listener and I hate Logano because even Kyle Busch would never give Mark Martin the bump and run.
We're still on that. Do you know how long ago that was?
I liked Matt Kenseth more for him running Logano, wrecking him on purpose. That's how much I dislike.
Wait, you're talking about Martinsville?
No, talking about
like
Pocono that
Mark
one year.
Martin.
The first it was the first Pocono race.
There was like a time where like not Mark Martin, but Matt Kenseth like went on a rampage at Martinsville.
I was bringing that.
I remember that.
I was saying that was another reason.
Okay.
Dude, that was the most beautiful thing in the world. When I was like, wait, is he really going to do it? I was like on my edge of my seat
I
for that race with Kenseth. I was like, he's gonna do it. And then you see it how literally if I had popcorn, I would have been eating it with a fury. I was so angry. I think I cheered harder for that than most things.
Seen a driver lose their shit more than that day. Actually, no. It was Jeff Gordon lost his shit.
Once. No, when Jeff Gordon lost his shit, but
when in Texas?
Yes, but
no. I think it was
Texas?
That was the same year.
Was it
that was the same year because that was when
it was with Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick started it by shoving him.
That was the same year where where Matt Kenseth chased down Keselowski after the Charlotte race and tried to choke him between the
trailers.
They're between the trailers because Keselowski got into him after the race for some reason, and then Keselowski actually ended up running into Tony Stewart by accident, and then Stewart, being Stewart, throws it into reverse and rams Keselowski. And then we get to Martinsville, and it's Keselowski, Kenseth, and JGR equipment, and Logano the top three. Oh. No, these weren't the same year, because that was the year, the Keselowski story was also the year that Jeff lost his crap, so they weren't the same story. They weren't the same year, I'm sorry. But that was the same year when Keselowski cut Jeff Gordon's tire trying to go for a hole that wasn't there, and Jeff Gordon, who doesn't really get into fights, lost his crap and tried to get into a fist fight with Keselowski thanks to a helpful push from Kevin Harvick.
Did initially start the fist fight because he shoved him in the back. Oh, God.
And I love how Kevin Harvick never got punished for that, despite being the guy that 100% started that.
It's my favorite thing. Like, that gif, literally is everything of him just coming in and shoving him.
That
he
also
shoved him his life depended on it.
I was dying.
That was also the start of the rise of Bob Pockrass.
It was the same year. It was 2014.
Yeah.
But Shout out to Brian listening, who has plenty of NASCAR knowledge to help us.
That was also kind of like the rise of Bob Pockrass. There's a shot of him in the middle of that mess when all that happened, unfortunately. And then and he's actually got the picture up on his Twitter banner, and Jamie Little's face is you have to go to Bob Pockrass' Twitter and look at this. Jamie Little's face is of complete terror as this scene is devolving into anarchy as Jeff Gordon is trying to get a piece of Brad Keselowski. Oh, that was
beautiful.
That was a bad couple of years for Penske Racing, because the next year is when Kenseth just lost his crap and straight wrecked Logano. And then
Which
Gordon
was
ends
beautiful.
up winning.
Honestly, it was probably one of my favorite moments in NASCAR history.
I knew it was coming.
It was something that first off, it's something I would have done. But two, it's like that one thing, you hear drivers, even since then, threatening everybody so much. Oh, if he gets near me, I'm going to wreck him, and more swear words than I'm going to say on the show, and blah, blah, blah. And Kenseth was like, nah, fam.
He didn't wait till after the race. He didn't wait till...
No.
This was no. If I see you,
I'm gonna drive.
On.
This was on site, and he ate
on site. You.
I am destroying you on site, and you know what he did? It was on site. The moment he saw that blue, white, and red freaking Ford.
No, he hit Logano, remember? Because Keselowski was the one that started it. And then he hit Logano because Logano was the one that ended up getting the win, or getting the lead from that. And that's the race that Jeff Gordon ended up winning to go to Homestead to challenge for the championship in his final year. And Kenseth ate that 2-race suspension and did not care because he was done getting messed around with by the Penske cars.
It was the funniest.
That man in the wall.
It was beautiful. He literally was just like, nope. We're I swear to God, something had to trigger off in his head. Like, he literally just went AWOL for a hot second. He was like, no, F all of this. Where you at? Because he hunted
Where
him
you at?
down.
Yes, he
dude.
did.
And like, no, and like, I was just like, wait, is he really going to do this? And you're like, yo, he's really going to do it. He does. And he did it beautifully. And I literally, like, I was with my dad when we, like, watching this race, and we literally were cheering like Truex won the race. It's like how we reacted to it happening.
Does anybody remember when Brian Vickers lost his shit?
Oh, good old Brian Vickers.
Oh, when he was like trying to kill everybody at Martinsville.
Yeah,
that was a weird day because he wrecked like 9 times that day.
He was mental. Like, what happened?
It was not a good day to be Brian Vickers that day.
His like blood clots for that. I feel like I would have used that at my advantage.
I mean, he wrecked like 9 people that day, and I think half the field wanted to fight him after that race.
Wasn't it him and Reed Sorensen? Where was it? And they wrecked, but like the one guy went backwards, and he like literally was just like driving the car, even though he was driving the other car too.
I think so.
Wasn't it him and Sorensen? That was the era back then.
That was just the era of everybody just losing their minds and wrecking people. And that was a great era. I wonder if they had an issue
with like carbon monoxide getting into the car or something.
I don't know, but
Can we go back to that though, fam? Because I enjoyed it.
I think we all enjoyed it, except for the guys that had to fix the cars at the end of the day. But
probably, but they're wrecking them anyway, though, right?
I mean, the sacrifices.
We might as well get a little bit of enjoyment out of it.
I mean, it's a sacrifice they make so that we have entertainment. So, but we are running a little bit over on this segment. I just want to say that, unfortunately, Keselowski's. I'll wrap by saying this: it felt like it was a situation where Brad Keselowski's mouth wrote a check that somebody else cashed. And unfortunately, it cost him a good finish at Daytona. Now, I have an announcement that I have to make right now.
Are you pregnant?
I hope not. But I'm actually...
You know what?
I'm actually going to make y'all wait until after the commercial, because this is something...
Darryl.
That I've been waiting for a long time. It is a huge step in my journalistic career, and you guys are going to have to wait for what that is on the other side of this break here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio.
Pins and needles, guys.
Your direct feed for all that is sports.
Two Wheels Wednesday is the place to come for all your motorcycle sports news every Wednesday on IE Sports Radio with myself, Matt White. All the latest news, rumours, race reviews and previews from World and British Superbikes and the big one, MotoGP. Two Wheels Wednesday, every Wednesday on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sport.
Hey USRN fans, do you have a product or company you're trying to promote? Look no further. USRN is teaming up with small local businesses trying to establish themselves via online promotion. Let us know if you're interested. Email us at usrnradio@gmail.com to learn more.
What up, all you boxing fans? This is Vince Wright, the sports governor, and me and Gilbert Batista are the host of Ringside on IE Sports Radio. Make sure you keep it tuned to IE Sports Radio, Spreaker.com for the latest edition of Ringside. All the boxing news you need right here. Keep it tuned, Spreaker.com, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, IE Sports Radio proudly brings to you its intergender tag team champions of the world. Yes, I am Martin Sandoval. My co-host is Felicia, and we are the hosts of The Gorilla Position, live Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. We bring to you all the latest in news and rumors and opinions and perspectives on the world of professional wrestling. We bring you guys the latest in WWE, Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and including independent wrestling such as Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and here VIP Wrestling live from Texas. Yes, it is The Gorilla Position with myself, Martin Sandoval, and my co-host Felicia, live on Spreaker.com and on iTunes.
And we are back here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports and fans. We now have a website. Head over to www.iesportsradio.com to check out the blog, get involved in our forums, listen to all the shows here on IE Sports Radio and more. That's at www.iesportsradio.com. And fans, we have a brand new place where we upload the episodes. You can listen to them on our new YouTube page. Search IE Sports Radio on YouTube and you can see all of the episodes as they are recorded and posted in real time. So check us out on YouTube and the website as well. As we're back on the show, I'm not going to drag this out any longer. I've teased you enough, so I'm just going to get to the announcement. But first, I'm going to give a little bit of backstory. As everyone knows, I'm a huge NASCAR fan. In fact, the only reason I went into sports media to begin with, or into broadcast journalism as a college major, because my dream was to get into motor racing, to broadcasting in motor racing. One time, want to be play-by-play. I've really gotten into the radio/podcasting side of it and in the writing on WBGRnetwork.com. I had a show, ironically also called The Extra Mile, back in 2008 for a project in one of my classes, actually my radio class. That show then became this one after a long absence, thanks to good friend of mine, Phil Jones, here on IE Sports Radio, and I now have 4 great co-hosts that I get to do this show with, and it's all well and good, and it's great. When we got back from Daytona, I got an email from a group, from an individual at Pocono Raceway, and this was something that I had put together before I left. As my station, I've been trying to break into NASCAR now for about 2 years to do broadcasting, and I got some news that made me hit the ceiling in joy. Caitlin, I'm going to need you to run that July 25th show. because I will be on my way to Pocono Raceway to cover the NASCAR Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series weekend, July 26th through the 28th for WBGR Sports, where I'll be making my NASCAR broadcasting debut covering the races for WBGR Sports.
Amazing news.
What's it like being a big dog now, Darryl?
I had to read the email twice at first, because at first I didn't even think we were going to get it. You know, we had been doing the coverage for Hagerstown this year, and I just thought, you know what? Let's give this a try. We didn't get into it last year, so he said, you know what? Let's start at the grassroots. Let's cover some short tracks. That's why we've been up in Hagerstown for most of the spring and summer. Cover those races and do that, and also try to do the NASCAR as well. So I decided, you know what? Let's throw this Hail Mary, see what happens. So you filled out the questionnaire, did the follow-up questions, and just waited, and got back from the disappointment of missing the Cup race in Daytona to find out that I won't have to wait too long to go to my next one, because you'll be working the one in Pocono. And it's an incredible feeling to know that finally I'm getting to take that from a dream and make it a reality. Getting to finally cover one of these races on site from the ground level. And I can't wait for July 26th to get here.
Our work pays off, man.
Thank y'all.
So happy for you.
Yep. And I want to give a quick shout out to Phil Jones. He hosts the show Fast Break and The Unfiltered Truth as well. I want to give a shout out to him because in 2015, I wasn't really doing a lot at all. 2015, 2016, whenever it was. I don't keep track of dates around this time anymore. Actually, it was 2017. Excuse me. I wasn't doing a whole lot. I was struggling emotionally and educationally at this point. I didn't know what I was going to do, and he hit me up, said that iSports Radio was trying to do a racing podcast, and that kind of relit the fire in me to come and do this again. And without him, I probably wouldn't be here. I probably wouldn't be getting ready to make this trip. So, Phil, thank you so much for hitting me up that day while the Rolex 24 was going on, man. I owe you a lot. Thank you so much. And thank you to Larry B as well for letting me come aboard and do this show, because this right here is really what got me refocused and back doing what I love, which is running my mouth about racing. So now I'm going to get to go up there and cover the guys I used to watch on TV for about a decade, about 2.5 decades of my life at least.
Gotta start somewhere, man.
Yep, thank y'all. And before I start tearing up and crying on here, let's move on to something a bit more.
Happens sometimes.
Yeah, something a bit more humorous, and that is in Formula One. I finally caught up, by the way, to the Grosjean, to Everyone Talks Crap About Grosjean episode of F1 Drive to Survive. And Gunther did not need to do Grosjean like that, Caitlin. He did not need to do him like that at all.
Like, it literally is like that. It's like the underlying theme of the entire series of that show for season 1 is let's all openly hate on Grosjean.
And it's just with the ease that they've done.
Like,
and then,
and you like get the pit. Like when we get to the actual Grosjean episode, his face is so damn pitiful. Like I'm surprised it didn't become a meme in and of itself. Like, he's like literally the puppy that got kicked way too many times.
I mean, you can't help but feel bad for him when you see his face after you've been hearing everybody just openly trash him and his performance. And even in that episode, when he hits the wall and Gunther's sitting on the wall like, I can't live like this. I can't. And he's trying to apologize, and Gunther's sitting there looking like the disappointed father the whole time, and they're in the debrief after qualifying, and Gunther's sitting there with his head in his hands like, I can't do this with him. He's just sitting there with the faces. I just cannot do this with him. And I felt bad for the guy, because like, his career it's been a struggle the past couple of years now, and everything that could go wrong during that French GP weekend did. He gets beat by his teammate at his home Grand Prix. I'm pretty sure the rain after was brought on by just his mood, to be honest. But I bring up the show, and I bring up Haas for a reason, because there are several episodes of season 2 that are just going to be lit for Drive to Survive.
Yeah, Bahrain, I hope so. Like, I hope that the things that we're about to discuss are heavily focused upon, at least in one episode.
Yes. Bahrain, when Leclerc loses the win. But basically, the whole Leclerc-Vettel saga, hopefully that gets covered somehow. I know Ferrari, I don't think is participating, but...
Ooh, after this, are we talking about last weekend?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, hope that gets covered. Monaco, Canada. Please let Canada be an episode, because everything around that drama is going to be lit. And this debacle, the Rich Energy debacle, sponsoring Haas F1.
I don't know if it's debacle is even the right word. This is like F1 Chernobyl.
Yeah. It's getting to farcical levels of disaster at this point. And to get everybody up to speed, Rich Energy is this weird energy drinks company that has been trying to break into F1 for a couple of years now. They've got a real hard-on for trying to beat Red Bull that is airing on Obsession. Can
I just point out that I appreciate that you used hard-on in a way that I didn't even have to make it dirty? Thanks, Darryl.
You're welcome. There was a story broke that the business address is actually a apartment for some reason. And then a more serious allegation, which ended up being proven, was that they took their logo that they used for their cans and plagiarized it from a bicycle company. They ended up losing that lawsuit in court in Europe. So that was a thing that has negatively affected the company. Now, Haas F1 themselves have had a little bit of a down year, had a couple of races that were not so good. So a tweet comes out on the Rich Energy Twitter, and I got to see if this tweet is still up, because I want to read this verbatim, because y'all just have to hear how it was worded. Basically, it's a tweet saying they were terminating their work, or that they are terminating their sponsorship of Haas F1. The tweet is actually still up for some reason, and this is what it's read verbatim. Today, Rich Energy terminated our contract with Haas F1 team for poor performance. We aim to beat Red Bull, and being behind Williams Racing in Austria is unacceptable. They were behind one Williams car in Austria, and that was because Grosjean ran into issues, but neither Haas had a good day, but that's neither here nor there. The politics and PC attitude in F1 is also inhibiting our business. No idea what that means. We wish the team well. Hashtag F1, hashtag Rich Energy. That tweet got ratioed pretty badly to a tune of 3.7, 1.4, 3.9. And basically what that ratio means is if you've got a whole bunch of comments under your tweet, you either did something really good or something really bad. They did something really bad, and F1 fans just lit into them.
My favorite is after this, they tried to cover everything up by blaming the tweeter, because in the statement that they released, they said the company said it will seek to legally remove the individual who posted the tweet, adding the rogue actions of one individual did not represent the views of the firm.
And then 6 hours ago, Rich Energy CEO William Story apparently commented. He said, the ludicrous statement by minority shareholders cozy with Red Bull and white bikes is risible. Their attempted palace coup has failed. I control all assets of Rich Energy and have support of all key stakeholders. What is going on with this company?
The fuck?
My favorite is that, like, legit, I didn't even know what it was. Like, I thought it was, like, an actual energy company for the longest time. Because, like I have, like, Duke Energy. And so
I don't
was like,
know,
oh,
Michael.
and then they were like, no, it's, like, literally, like, okay, the obsession that Rich Energy has of being against Red Bull and how they're, like, it's, like, conspiracy level. Like, I almost feel like maybe it was him. Like, I feel like somebody had to have gotten very, very, very hurt by Red Bull directly in order to produce this kind of, like, obsessive behavior to take down Red Bull.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they clipped somebody's wings incorrectly and they went freaking insane.
And then to throw Haas under the bus when everybody has already had questions about whether or not they're being fairly compensated by Rich Energy to begin with, that didn't help their matters at all. And then to try and cover up is somebody going rogue. This whole company just looks like a train wreck. To the outside.
They haven't deleted anything. Like, that's the funny part. Usually when something like this happens, the first thing you do is you remove it.
Yeah, that's the weird part. Why is the tweet still up? Why is this still up?
That's, like, to me, that's the funny part. Did maybe they fire the Twitter, like their social media coordinator, and nobody else in the company, like, knows about Twitter?
I don't know. Because they made this comment 7 hours ago, so someone still has control of the password.
I don't, like, it's just really funny. Like, how, like, literally, it's literally like social media coordinator 101. Yeah. Find offensive tweet, delete it. And then you start saving things from there. But you can't, like, if there's a garbage fire, you have to get rid of the garbage fire before you can fix it. Like, you can't just jump into it because you'll burn.
Yeah. The shareholders, for what it's worth, they're trying to save the Haas F1 relationship at the moment. Haas, for their side, they released a statement saying, Rich Energy is currently the title partner of Haas F1. I cannot comment further on the contractual relationship between our two parties due to commercial confidentiality. And that's from Gunther Steiner, team principal of Rich Energy Haas F1. And knowing that Gunther has no filter, I wish I was in the room when this news came out. Because I know he had to go off.
Like, how confused they actually have to be.
Yes. Michael, what do you make of this absolute mess on their hands?
I wish they were back in talks with Maserati again. Also, have
Same,
anybody
actually.
ever tried Rich Energy drink?
I don't even know where you get Rich Energy, actually.
Do I have to import that from Europe? Because that's a lot of money.
Well,
know,
you can
it's-
find stuff on Amazon, but when I'm looking at it, it's all in a language I can't read.
It's not sold in stores, so I have no idea where you get it.
And then
Because
somebody-
here in America, we like Red Bull, Rockstar, and Monster.
And I can't do energy drinks. I have ADD, so I barely focus as it is. And you want to put energy drink into my system? Yeah, I'm going to be like a space shuttle. You will never catch me. But,
it has a Reddit thing.
oh goodness, it's never good when there's a Reddit.
No. Oh, no, please, no.
I don't get it. And I kind of feel sorry for Haas because all they were trying to do was get a sponsor so Gene could stop paying for the F1 team out of pocket. It has just gone so wrong.
Like, I think what's interesting is that, like, Haas hasn't actively tried to completely disassociate from them yet. To me, I think that's interesting. Because clearly a company like this does not have money.
They can't have enough
like,
money to
this-
sponsor an
this
F1
They're
team.
the only
This is
title
literally-
sponsor they have, so it's just like...
But here's the thing about it. Like, let's be honest. Tell me, I don't remember the chick's name, but the chick that got, like, the huge court and she, like, is going to jail forever because she, in New York, because she, like, pretended to be, like, this really, really wealthy person and literally, like, swindled, like, millions of dollars from, like, companies and people because they all
she
thought
was my
she was,
hero.
like, some... Huh?
Oh, she was my hero. I know who you're talking about.
But you know what I mean? But, like, it's kind of that equivalent as a race sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't think that, like, honestly, I can't believe Haas has even seen a literal dollar from this yet.
I'm not sure how the payments work in Formula One, but I hope the checks have been clearing. That's all I can say.
Like, I finally thought, like, oh, here's an ad. Premium British performance. Forget the wings. Rich Energy gives you horns. Like, even their
They are
campaign.
so
is
fixated on
against-
Red Bull. You're never beating them. Shut up.
Did somebody
I
get...
want to
This
walk
is
up
like
to
the bird-
I
this
want to
is
walk
like
up to the
misery
CEO and just tell them to
in
shut up.
energy drink form. Like, has
Yes.
anybody checked to make sure that the Red Bull CEO is, like, alive and safe? Because they could be in this dude's basement.
Just somebody walk up to that man, whoever runs that freaking energy drink company, and just tell him to shut up. Just shut up. Make your own drink.
Or just make sure your bills are being paid and short your stuff out, guys.
Like, and, like, their stuff isn't even, like, literally, it goes, we use only the finest ingredients, formulated to provide increased alertness, attention, and energy. Rich Energy Haas F1 team, now officially registered by the FIA. Using only the finest ingredients for perfection in flavor. No compromise, keeping you going significantly longer. Like, literally, that's the ad.
I swear, if I import that shit from Europe and it tastes like ass,
Where's Matt? Why is he asleep right now? He needs to be doing research on this for us
Matt-
immediately.
Matt, you need
Matt,
to
if
wake
you're
up.
listening,
We need
it's like some kind
answers.
of rich energy.
The Americans
it's
need
ass.
answers. We need you to test a can of Rich Energy for us because we can't. And report back your findings.
Darryl, I will import like a box of that just so we can try it. I'm dead ass.
Look, I will I don't even know what the exchange rate would be in Cash App, but if I could even Cash App between continents, I will Cash App you the money for the can. You'll have to help me work out the conversion rate, but we will figure this out. But
because I guarantee you it tastes terrible.
Like, I literally, guys,
man.
like, this
At a
is
drift
just-
event, Rockstar was serving cotton candy flavored energy drinks,
why?
and that stuff was delicious.
I guess.
If it's not better than that, go home, Rich Energy.
Oh, legit? Like, the logo is identical. Oh, I just found, like, the white bikes.
They ripped off that logo, unfortunately.
Legit.
But, while we're talking about energy drink companies, we weren't here to talk about this race, but a couple of weeks ago was the Austrian GP, and for the first time this season, Mercedes didn't win a race.
And the race was actually interesting.
I want to first off say that I'm pretty sure Caitlin helped this come into being.
Oh my gosh.
Well, if we recall 2 weeks show ago, I got to do the gentleman start your engine, and I said, or driver start your engine, and I did say everybody but who? Hamilton and Vettel. And look who didn't win. I'm just saying. I think I called this into being. And also I picked the winner. So even
leave it
better.
To Caitlin to bring about chaos. Oh my god.
What did you do?
Oh.
What did you do?
Snorted.
I don't want to interrupt the F1 conversation, but this video just came across my Facebook because the truck race is going on right now. Sheldon Creed and Natalie Decker got into a shouting match, and it ended with Decker stealing his hat and tossing it at him. So if you want to know how Natalie Decker's night went, about that well.
That's a shocker.
Yeah. I will listen to this over the break because there might be some not nice language into it. But it was a great race. Max Verstappen with the fake out of him losing energy and then just smoothly passes Bottas like it was nothing.
Darryl, do you want to talk about the memes me and Caitlin made?
I did not actually see them. I don't know where I was. I didn't see the memes, but go ahead.
Me and Caitlin made some of the funniest memes. It was the way Leclerc was looking at her.
Oh, yeah. I was a part of that.
That picture was priceless.
We made so many memes.
It literally took longer than the race itself for them to declare Verstappen the winner.
Yeah, and we were thinking... Actually, I don't think that was not.
Everybody was thinking the worst things at that point.
I was thinking they're about to take the win away. I really did. And that was not Sheldon Creed. That was in the argument with Decker. I have to go look up and see who she got into it with. But, yeah, I thought they were about to take the win away, and they didn't. And I'm like, okay, so what took so long?
Well, and, like, they ended up... What they ended up saying in their statement after they declared him the winner, because then everybody was freaking out because of Canada. They were like, well, we've decided that neither party was innocent. Was like
what
how they ended up.
Mean?
I don't. Does anybody know anything actually means when it comes to the people up in F1 headquarters? Like, let's be honest here.
Not really. Like,
maybe they're all
either incident was innocent
on rich energy.
Just stop policing motorsports accidents like traffic accidents. Let's be done with it, please. Like, for real. Like, this is really annoying trying to figure this stuff out.
It's just getting intense.
So we're going to Silverstone. They just announced a 5-year agreement to keep that race going. Do we think we will see a replay of the overheating issues that hurt Mercedes, or is this one of those races where we're in Lewis Hamilton's hometown and he's going to destroy everybody?
He's going to destroy everyone, let's face it.
Oh, yeah, he's coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah, he's going to murk everyone.
Yeah.
It's over.
Literally, murk.
Already.
It's unfortunate. I hope we do get another good race, though, because that Austria race, it's funny. You take the silver arrows out of it, and all of a sudden it becomes a much more interesting race, and I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan. Like, and that's kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great race up until literally the last lap.
Yep. So we're going to take a little break. We're going to come back for hot laps. And then when we come back from that break, we've got a continuing story of perseverance and grit that goes into its next chapter when IndyCar heads to Toronto this weekend. You'll find out about that on the other side of this break here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
From the home plate to the nets, the end zone to the finish line, here nothing is off limits and no sport is safe. Not what it seems with your host Caitlin Seam, bringing you sports like you've never heard before. Catch me Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, right here on IE Sports Radio. The only question is, are you ready?
Hi everybody, it's Calvin here from USRN, here to give you an important message. Since 2017, we have done our absolute best to provide you with nothing but the highest quality of sports calls in the greatest of quantity possible. Thanks to you, our station has grown more than we ever thought. That's why, with your help, we would like to grow even further. Just think, twice the amount of your favorite calls, 24 hours of coverage, talk shows, play-by-play, game-by-game analysis, and so much more. That's right, USRN2 is officially in development. But we can't do it alone. We have set up a GoFundMe page that you can access from our homepage on the left of your screen. We also are planning special giveaways and prizes to our highest owners. Our goal here at USRN is to bring you the best calls possible at no cost to you. In order to continue to do that, we need your help now. Please check out our GoFundMe page, and if you would like to know how you can help, you can email usrnradio@gmail.com. Without your support, we couldn't do what we do.
NBA, college basketball fans out there. Tired of hearing about just the dramatic stuff in the basketball world. Tired of hearing about what such and such reward tonight and not about the game? Hey, leave all of that alone. Because on Wednesday nights, I got this show called Fast Break with Phil Jones here on the IE Sports Radio. And all we talk about is straight basketball, from where it comes down to the NBA, the NCAA, and even the WNBA. I don't discriminate. I give all my NBA, my basketball, whatever you want with sports, to the slam dunks, to the three-pointers, to the teardrops, to the game winners. I'm there. I'm speaking about it. I have a debate. I have my panel. I got a squad that rolls in, and we're going to be talking mad sports. We're going to be talking about the Lakers. We're going to be talking about even the Brooklyn Nets. We're going to be talking about who's the top team out there in the NBA. So, tired of all the drama, tired of all the what did he wear today? What kind of shoes he had? Forget all that. Just come over. Fast Break with Phil Jones here on IE Sports Radio every Wednesday night at 8 Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time, y'all. So, yo, tune in.
welcome back to the Extra Mile here on IE Sports Radio. And after a couple of weeks away, it is the return of Hot Laps, where we take you around the world and give you the news from the world of international motorsport. And we'll start with two wheels. We've got a double shot of World Championship action at the weekend. Marc Marquez, his 10th race in a row at the Saxon Ring across all classes this weekend. With the ring, he certainly is. At Donington Park, World Superbike Ring action, Jonathan Rea with a triple there this weekend to take the championship lead, and they are in California at Laguna Seca this weekend. Down in Australia at Townsville, two races for the Virgin Australia Supercars, one of them in torrential conditions. That was won by Shane Van Gisbergen on Saturday. Scott McLaughlin winning, as he always does, on Saturday to take the victory there. In World Rallycross, Sebastian Eriksson making a one-off appearance in that championship one in Sweden. Benny Rast and Bruno Spengler won the two DTM races at the Norris Ring. World Touring Car races in Portugal won by Norbert Nicholas, Mikel Ascona and Thiago Monteiro. It's probably been mentioned already because I know Michael was extremely excited. Mazda are 2 wins on the spin in IMSA. Ollie Jarvis and Tristan Nunez winning this weekend up in Canada. We have a triple shot of nearest to win this weekend. IndyCar at Toronto on Sunday. Myself and Darryl joining Matt Owen over on USRN to call that race. We've also got the Cup race for NASCAR Saturday night at Kentucky, and the British Grand Prix with its new shiny 5-year deal at Silverstone. Caitlin Sim is the nearest to win scoreboard leader with 20 points to her name. Larry B is on 19. Darryl Kinsey Jr. got the points last week for Kyle Busch, even though he finished 14th or something crazy in Daytona. That's the lowest ever nearest to win points scored in the history of nearest to win ever. He's on 14, Matt Owens is on 11, Lalita on 10, I am on 8, Couch Creasy on 6, along with Michael. Seth Eves is on 5, propping up the bottom of the scoreboard. Getting nearest to win picks in using the hashtag nearest to win on the Twitter. Enjoy a myriad of racing across the weekend. We've also got the Wimbledon finals as well. And it's the Cricket World Cup final, which I'm extremely excited about because England are finally in a World Cup final of a sport of some kind. And don't forget to tune in to USRN on Saturday. Myself and Darryl on the call for IndyCar at Toronto.
Thank you so much, Matt. And yes, we will be on that call with Matthew Owens and Seth Eves this Sunday as USRN brings you IndyCar racing from the Toronto GP. And we're going to get into that right now here on the Extra Mile. But before we get into the race itself, we got to get into a story around that race, where it was announced this week that Robert Wickens will be back in a race car driving an Acura NSX during the formation lap before the race in Toronto on Sunday. Now remember, Wickens got into that horrible accident at Pocono and has been spending his time since then working his way back really to walk again and then get into a race car. Getting into this car for Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports at the Honda Indy Toronto is a huge milestone in that step to possibly have him back in the IndyCar. And guys, I didn't think he'd even be driving again, but it's going to be, there won't be a dry eye in the house when he's rolling around that racetrack on Sunday at all.
No, not at all.
I barely had a dry eye when I saw a little video of it. There was another video I was going to send it to you guys tonight, but it shows him in the car. Mm-hmm. When he gets to drive it for the first time, and I was just I can't even, with this, it's just awesome. I'm so happy for him, and it sucks, obviously, because of everything that happened, but he has been so determined, and the easiest thing to do is give up, and he hasn't, and he so clearly hasn't, and it just makes me so proud of him to see how much he's fought just to get this far.
I can't wait till he gets back into an IndyCar. I really can't. And the way he's been working ever since the accident, really since he got out the hospital bed. He has been rehabbing, and yes, there have been some bad days, but he's been sharing that journey with all of us on social media from, his first steps with the aid of the crutches to going up the steps on the plane to go to St. Petersburg by himself, and now this. We've been watching his recovery in real time, and I do believe he will get back in the seat of an IndyCar before too long. Probably, I didn't think it would be this year, but I think definitely 2020, we could see him at least testing an IndyCar again. And how incredible would that be?
Amazing. It would be amazing. And it's exciting, and I don't know. You just can't not be happy for him. You know what I mean? Like, for everything that he's come through. It's incredible.
It is. And as we're going into this weekend in the Honda Indy Toronto, this continues the great American duel, as one writer put it, between Joseph Newgarden and Alexander Rossi, two Americans on top of the IndyCar standings. And for the longest time, a lot of the old guard in IndyCars talked about how the one thing that's going to get this sport back to prominence is although I do think it's back to prominence already, but back to a larger prominence than it already was, is you have two true blue American drivers fighting it out for the championship. And this year they finally got it. You have a resurgent Joseph Newgarden on 402 points, leading the way. You've got Alexander Rossi, who was refusing to finish second, absolutely dominated at Road America. He's on 395 when it comes to points. These are the top two incredibly popular drivers going at it for the title. If these two can keep it going all the way to Laguna Seca, Caitlin Michael, we've got the next great open-wheel rivalry brewing right before our very eyes.
And it's so perfect. You got the blonde chipper Joseph Newgarden. You got this dark horse in Rossi, and he even has dark hair, which makes it even primer. Like, it's literally everything you could possibly want for. Everything. It gives me life.
And it's two of the biggest names in IndyCar. Penske, the legendary team owner, Roger Penske, and Andretti Autosport, which is Michael Andretti, although he never really won the Indy 500s, dominated that race as a car owner. His father, Mario, was an F1 champion, the only Andretti to win the Indy 500 as of right now. So you got two marquee names represented by these two incredible drivers. Michael, it makes me excited. It makes me want to tune in for the second half of this season to see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, I won't lie. I've been sleeping on IndyCar for this season, but I'm interested now that this whole rivalry is going on.
So which one are you guys going to ride with to the end? Are you going to go with Newgarden or Rossi?
To the end?
Or just
I don't think I can.
From here, who do you think is going to take it? Because I think if I'm judging by who's got the momentum, I think Rossi's in the driver's seat right now.
Yeah. While Newgarden is leading still, I feel like the turn of events that we've seen through Rossi and his determination, I think that he's eking out a little bit more. Except for this is a prime weekend for Newgarden to show his dominance again. So I think it'll be a good tell this weekend.
And Newgarden should have won this race last year, to be honest.
Yeah. I jinxed him.
Yeah, he ended up getting into the wall and then having a poor finish last year. But this is a race. This is a championship race I'll be watching all the way down to the final round at, I think it's WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca now. Because it used to be Mazda for such a long time. Now it's WeatherTech. And speaking of those Mazdas, while we got some time here, Michael, that team, the Yost in Mazda Yost has finally come out as they have dominated the last two races.
Yes, finally. And in your face leader. But seriously.
Of course, the show she's not on.
Right, the show she's not on, we talk about this.
I was so hoping she would be here. But I am just so happy that they're finally winning races. It took too long for them to finally win races, but it's happening now, and I could not be any more overjoyed about that.
I'm excited for it as well, and I cannot wait to get this race started with Matthew Owens and Seth Ease. We'll be covering it on USRN at 3 p.m. You can also watch it on NBCSN and listen as well on the Advanced Auto Parts IndyCar Radio Network. So before we go, of course, we got to make those picks for nearest the win. We've got NASCAR in Kentucky, the British Grand Prix, and the Honda Indy Toronto. For NASCAR, I think I'm going to go... Well, I would go Kevin Harvick. He's been struggling here as of late. So I'll come back to NASCAR at the end. I'm going to go with Alexander Rossi at the Honda Indy Toronto. And I can't pick Lewis Hamilton this week. So I'm going to go with Charles Leclerc at the British Grand Prix. And for NASCAR... You know, let's throw a shot in the dark. William Byron. I think he gets his first win.
Oh, damn.
Michael, who you got?
Okay.
Or Caitlin, who you got?
Nope, go Michael. Go right ahead.
IndyCar, I'm going to go with Newgarden. I heard that, Caitlin. And NASCAR... Harvick.
Mm-hmm.
And F1, I'm gonna go Hamilton. I'll bend the knee and pick Hamilton for once.
Well, congratulations on your 2 points then.
That's sad. That's really sad. That's sad.
But that's all right, because you're not going to be catching the leader of Nearest the Win, who is yours truly, who is still ahead by 1 point, because she too will be picking Lewis Hamilton to win Formula One. So balancing that shenanigan out. And I'm really annoyed because I was going to pick Newgarden.
You can still pick Newgarden.
I can, but
no one's
double
saying you
pick
can't.
is temptation for him to lose, but I do. All right, I'm going to pick Newgarden to win, get his hat trick finally, since he got it taken away from him last year. And then a good old Kentucky. So, out of the 8 races that we've had here, every single race but one has been won by a current driver. The only person not active that has won a race there is Matt Kenseth. Kyle Busch has won 2 races. Brad Keselowski has won 3. And my boyo, Martin Truex Jr., has won the last 2. Now, while I'm somewhat okay with ruining my darling Newgarden's chances of winning, I have a really hard time picking Truex to win races because I feel like it jinxes him, and I would rather lose Nearest the Win than jinx my darling driver. So I'm going to pick Kyle Busch instead. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay, and if you want to join us with Nearest the Win, all you have to do is tweet out your picks with hashtag Nearest the Win. You need to have those picks in by Gentlemen, Start Your Engines for
and
on
just
Saturday
don't
and
pick
Sunday.
Truex. Don't jinx him. Don't do it, guys.
So, with that being said, it is time to wrap up this another episode of the Extra Mile. Excuse me. You can check out Caitlin's show at 5 o'clock, Not What It Seems, right here on IE Sports Radio. Remember to keep it locked to our social media pages on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And if you missed any episode of any IE Sports Radio show, the episodes are now on the Spreaker Show Reel, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and YouTube. You can also find links to them at our new website, www.iesportsradio.com. Also, check out my writings at wbjrnetwork.com, where I've got a write-up coming up about walking through the garage and the pit lane of the Daytona International Speedway and the rain that kind of dashed our hopes that day on Saturday, unfortunately. So you want to keep it locked and look out for that. And with that being said, it is time to say good evening for Caitlin and Michael. My name is Darryl. This has been The Extra Mile. We will see you at the next green flag. Good night, everybody.